A very pleasant Saturday afternoon to you, everyone, and what a pleasant Saturday it is. It is no secret what this network's political leanings have been. It was officially called that Joe Biden is president-elect, and I, for one, am thrilled. As you can tell, so are some of the other people we have with us today. Welcome to the PJCN Water Cooler Chat Mandalorian Edition. I'm Maxwell Haddad, and I have some really wonderful people with me here today. Of course, the namesake of the network, PJ Campbell. Of course, our resident Star Wars expert, who you may have just seen on another Mandalorian show that probably won't be as good as this one, Sean Sullivan. And you know him from a certain POV, Jake Berlin. Thanks for joining us, Jake.
Thanks for having me.
I think this is your first time. No, is this your first time on the channel?
It is.
Awesome.
It is.
I wasn't able to make the Tuesday hangout. So
we ended up going 9.5 hours.
That was
on election night. Although election night has felt like it's been about 105 hours.
I almost wish we had continued and left the stream up and just kept coming back and doing updates and stuff, because that's literally all I've done all week is watch CNN, and that's all they've been doing.
I at a certain point I switched to MSNBC because I really like their map guy.
Yeah,
the internet is sort of fallen for.
Yeah, look, I'm just so happy that we're here on a Saturday where we can just be like celebrating. I was already excited because Saturdays mean Mando days for us, where we talk about it, and I love hanging out with you guys. But like, holy shit, I felt like the dude at the beginning of the video at the water cooler. Like, we took Orange Mussolini out to pasture and beat the shit out of him. Yeah, like, that's my nickname for him now, is Orange Mussolini. And I just feel so fucking good. Like, it's we've made it no secret. We are Biden supporters here, and that it's just felt good, man. Like, I've breathed for the first time in 4 years today.
Yeah, Kornacki, he is a special dude, and I hope he gets a lot of good sleep. He's been working almost nonstop. It just feels like, I know these next few months are going to be tumultuous.
Rough.
I know the Cheeto is going to be a baby and fight tooth and nail. His efforts are going to prove to be null and void. I am confident of that. It's going to be arguably the most disgusting transition of power in the history of America. Yeah. But all of that being said, it feels like a tumor has been removed from my shoulders.
I like seeing Jake, who's never been here before, and the way we talk, and Jake is just laughing at everything we say. And
it's so much, because I watch you guys on the other side as a viewer, so I know what it's all about, and we all talk and everything. But I was laughing because, and I've heard it multiple times, but just the word Cheeto is so brilliant. It is. So
I take no credit for it, but I sure do like calling him that. Yeah. And much like a Cheeto, if you flick him, he would explode into dust.
It's fucking true.
So today, America flicked him in the face.
I mean, it was such a good day that I made sure I even wore my Mets hat for Max.
I super appreciate it. The last thing I needed to see was an obnoxious Yankees hat in my face.
I know, I did it for you. I was looking out for you.
Before we dive into The Passenger, let's talk a little bit about some of the other stuff we have going on the network in the next couple days. So there's really nothing this weekend because we are supporting the Extra Life. I don't have the.
I know it's not in the.
Anyway, so if you watched Suddenly Soundtracks this Wednesday, go ahead, Sean.
Twitch.tv/Some Call Me Johnny. They've already started for the afternoon. They are going to be streaming for 24 hours in a Pac-Man themed stream. Proceeds will be supporting Extra Life.
The Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. Chris Clark's going to be on that for a bit, but we love those guys. We support what they're raising money for, and go and check that out if you have some time. It's possible.
And I can post the donation link in the chat if you'd like.
Oh, and look at that. Brandy's on top of stuff too. She's got the.
It's possible at some point tonight my voice may appear on the stream. Maybe Sully. I don't know. But
I am most likely out, however much I would like to.
Well, anyways, if you can, check it out. Donate whatever you got. We support the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, and we especially are big fans of Philadelphia because
you guys came in clutch.
They came in clutch. I have never been more proud to have lived for 5 years in Philadelphia. I went to college and grad school in Philly. It's my third home, and I will gladly claim Philadelphia this year. We want to apologize for not doing our Die Hard watch along last night. Scheduling got in the way. We're going to try very hard to reschedule it, probably on a random day. in the middle of the week when we don't have another show, we're not going to not watch Die Hard.
Yeah, it'll probably be closer to December just because the end of November is going to be real chaotic, specifically for me. Just because you guys probably know we're doing the Schmodown stuff right now, and we're like really at the tail end of getting the rest of the season finished. So my mind is kind of set on making sure we get through that, and then I can just have fun all the way through December.
Yep. On Monday, we are watching The Nightmare Before Christmas. And what's cool is that on Wednesday, Suddenly Soundtracks is also Nightmare Before Christmas. So it's really a Nightmare Before Christmas themed week on the network. It's going to be a lot of fun. I love that movie. Check that out on Monday. And I don't have the art yet, but this is the first time I'm announcing we are doing Front Center Mezzanine on Thursday with our special guest, Gerard Canonico. He has been a stalwart of Broadway since he was a kid in Les Mis. He's been in Spring Awakening, Groundhog Day, American Idiot, Be More Chill, and more. He has a Blink-182 punk rock cover band that he travels the country with. He is dope. He's been in films and TV. It's going to be
Stuck.
great. Yep, Stuck, one of PJ's favorites. That's going to be Thursday at 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. I'm really excited for that. And, of course, next weekend is the SmashAthon, November 14th through 15th, starting at 3 p.m. Pacific, going over 24 hours, really, when you boil it down to it. The entire community is getting together to show love and support and try and raise money for Kevin Smets, who, as I'm sure you know, has very sadly been diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer. We send our unconditional love to Kevin and his wife and his beautiful new baby. There's going to be so much fun stuff on that stream. All of your favorites, all of your favorite reactors like Jake and POV, Call to Action, etc. Some competitors, all sorts of fun stuff. So you're definitely going to want to watch as much of that as you can. And of course, I know we ask you guys for money for all sorts of things, like we were just talking about the Children's Hospital Philadelphia, but any money you can spare during that stream to go towards Kevin and his family and his fight is beyond appreciated.
No, absolutely. I mean, there's not a lot I can say other than we're here with Kevin. We all love and appreciate him very, very much, and we will do anything in our power to make sure that he has. It's not going to be easy, but we want to make things easier on him.
Yeah. One last thing. Next Friday, we're watching Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. One of my favorite comedies. I can't wait to cry at John Candy. And of course, a huge thanks to our Patreon producers. We have executive producers. We got Ruby tier producers. Thank you all so much for your support. In fact, Jake, thank you. It's rare that we have one of our producer Patreons on the show with us. So thank you for your support, Jake, and everyone. If you want to check out our Patreon, we have a tier for everyone. You can hit up our Discord, vote on upcoming content, get shouted out on every show, choose a Suddenly soundtrack, or choose a watch along if you're an executive producer, which we have 2 of now. But I think that's enough about everything else we have going on. We're here to talk about Star Wars.
Hell yeah,
Now, hold on.
Yeah. I
am a patron.
You're a $2 patron. You don't
give us $2. I am a $10. I think a $10 POV patron. So I like that Jake and I are basically just exchanging money.
I'm a $1 patron on POV.
Oh, I support your girl. I support your girlfriend's show more than you do.
I was. Well, I mean, to be fair, what I would be giving
every time.
Thank you, Brandy.
You know, she gets girlfriend allowance.
And if you're not a patron, or if you are a patron and you haven't checked out the Discord, Brandy told me earlier she's going to be. We have a channel where you can listen to music that we're playing, celebratory music all day in the Discord. It's going to be.
It's been going
lit as fuck.
I've been noticing it because I get the notifications on my phone what's playing, and I'm like, "This is the fucking best."
So check out the Discord for DJ Brandy and her celebratory mix. Yeah,
I'm gonna give her a Mixmaster Brandy. She's getting a new role. I don't know how to do that.
Mixmaster Brandy. It's like a late '80s DJ.
Well, I think it's about that time, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
we got stuff to talk
about. Chapter 10, The Passenger. Written by Jon Favreau and directed by Peyton Reed, who I'm sure you all know from films like Bring It On, one of my all-time favorite films, Down with Love, which if you haven't seen, and of course, the very fun Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp. I love Peyton Reed. I was thrilled when I heard he was going to be directing an episode of The Mando, and I think he showed just, all sorts of different talents and skills he has with this episode.
it was not lost on me, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit before we talk about the full episode, that he definitely put an ant in the Tatooine Mos Eisley scene, like a giant ant that was in the universe, and I was like, this is fucking perfect. Thank you, Peyton Reed.
By the way, there's also party music in the POV Discord because they also have the Groovy Bot too. So if you want to hit up either of those Discords, I loved the design of this. I thought it was so cool.
It's the Ant-Man. It's the Ant-Man.
It's a literal Ant-Man.
I was so.
Does that make Amy Sedaris the Wasp?
Yes.
Oh.
But I just thought that was such a fun nod to like him overall and his filmography and what he's known for now as being the Ant-Man guy. So what a cool thing. But dude, what an episode. Starting off, we were still on Tatooine and the Mandalorian is attacked, or like out the gate, someone trying to steal the child.
Every time the child is in peril, my heart hurts.
I know.
We were talking to John Smith earlier, who is an actual parent, and he was saying how him and Kristen, every time the child is in peril, they yell out. And I sort of do something similar because I'm not a human parent, but I do have dogs, and I do have nieces and nephews. And every time the child's in peril, it's such a like cop out in some ways, but also so effective for drama. Anytime you could put a baby in peril, it's like you got your audience hooked.
Especially a baby Yoda that's that cute.
Yeah, and this time more than ever, I mean, we've seen him like hit the ground a couple times beforehand, but he like full on thudded, like just hardcore thudded.
And he squeals.
Yeah. Some of those noises that he made were like heartbreaking.
He's kind of got cartoon physics in like he's gone. I mean, he's been punched repeatedly. He's been thrown. Like I'm starting to. Someone on the previous show I was on mentioned that it feels like they're trying to set us up for something bad to happen to the child. But like realistically at this point, like they've shown cartoon physics so much for that kid that like, I don't know that I'll really care if something happens. They keep using that. And I understand that like, yeah, we have to put him in peril, but by putting him in peril with like what essentially amounts to pratfalls at some points, you know?
Well, and let's be clear, at least 30% of the peril he faces in this episode is his own doing.
Oh,
yes.
Right? Like he's going around like, I'm hungry. I'm going to eat this fucking dead spider. I'm going to eat these frog lady eggs. You had it coming.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, he's a child. He's putting pennies in light sockets, essentially. We know what he's doing.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he does. He's a child. It's okay. But he did put himself in a lot of danger. But one thing I was talking about before we got on stream is I'm kind of down with the episode starting with the Mandalorian just kicking ass. Like this is the second episode in a row now where it's literally started with the Mandalorian taking out a bunch of dudes, because we know that Mandalore and Mandalorians are great at combat. So one of the nice things is to see them really kind of focusing in on, especially a single Mandalorian in combat. And we're seeing a lot more of it, and the resourcefulness specifically of him.
Yeah, when he like used his grappling hook or whatever to get the gun back and it hit them both in the head, that was ace. That was awesome.
Well, and that's every time we see stuff like this from him, it's always new. It always feels like new stuff that he's doing, or his abilities are kind of like enhancing almost in a way. And the gun part was definitely one of those. And he also seems like he's getting smarter as this kind of episodes go on of how he fights and what he uses around him. And that's definitely all about the character growth and where he's eventually going to end up. So,
no, I agree with you. I mean, even last week to a point, I mean, I know we're talking about the passenger, but even in last week's episode, like the Marshal at that opening scene when they're in the ring area, essentially, he's fighting those dudes, and even like he's letting them hit him in the head because his head bounces back and hits the other dude. Like he's very clearly aware of, that's going to hurt the other guy more than me, and I just think it works really well.
He's sort of like the MacGyver of Star Wars.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, to an extent. I mean,
super resourceful.
This fight was great. I love seeing Nick, though. I didn't catch what the other taller bipedal alien was, and the one thing that I loved about that fight was one of the things I love so much about Star Wars is the alien designs.
Yeah,
and that's one of the reasons why I was like, "Hey, PJ, you trust me? I'm going to pull some stuff up."
I always trust.
I don't know who this dude is, but the design of this guy is great.
Yeah,
we've seen Jake, you probably are the one that would know. We've seen an alien like him in something
similar, but not to like the extent of such a close up.
Okay.
Maybe like a bystander or someone in the background.
Something in the background of like Rogue One.
Say that there might have been in one of the sequels too.
I feel like
on
on Jakku and Force Awakens, in the market there was something that looked kind of like this.
Yeah, maybe Rey walking by one.
Yeah,
that would make sense.
But it sort of has like a steampunk aesthetic, also almost with the way it's like eyes and mouth are look to be made of metal. So is it a droid? Is it an alien?
Tito kind of looks like that, I guess.
Yeah, and look at poor Baby Yoda.
I was really just gonna say, even in this photo, he looks so scared.
I just
like, can you help me, Jin, please?
The poor child.
Yeah,
but I loved this scene too because it also once again kind of proved the point of something we saw in The Marshal, is that so many of these dudes are really just in it for the money. Like no matter who the highest bidder is, they'll take it, and the Mandalorian plays strictly to that. Like he knows that if he gives him the jetpack, he can get him to scamper off and run away. The dude's just too stupid to know that he also controls the jetpack.
Yep.
It's so funny because I was watching that, and my first instinct was like, oh, he's probably just going to shoot him as he's running away, and then I thought to myself, oh, wait a second, like they're actually going to do this, and then he shoots the jetpack up, and we're just waiting for the body to come straight back down. It's like,
it was pretty hilarious.
That was great.
A great moment.
The timing of it was just right, and I think that speaks to Peyton's. He really started in comedy before he became, doing the Marvel films and now Star Wars. So it really felt like his comedic timing was just on point.
What's up, Reefism?
What's up, Reefism? You should catch up. It's good stuff.
Yeah, Mike said this episode has, to my knowledge, the most new alien species I've seen in the universe so far.
I think so. I think you're right.
What I love is, all these species have very complicated, thought out names, and then you have the frog lady.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's literally what they're calling her.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about that because you have Frog Lady and Dr. Mandible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
and the frog lady is voiced by D. Bradley Baker, who is
did all the clones. Yeah.
Not new to the Star Wars universe. He voiced Rex, he voiced Cassius, Commander Wolf. He was in both Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, and also in The Last Airbender. I mean, he's like a legendary voice actor of the last.
He's one of the greatest voice actors maybe of all time.
Yeah,
he's up there. We don't talk about him a lot because people focus on like the Kevin Conroys and the Mark Hamills.
Oh, everything back to like Johnny Bravo and Dexter's Laboratory and the Wild Thornberries. He was doing animal voices on the Wild Thornberries. So this guy, he was in Jackie Chan Adventures. Like he's just legit.
Jackie Chan Adventures represent.
That was a show that existed.
5 seasons, sir. Don't disrespect that. It's a good show.
I will say before we move on to like anything in like the canteen or anything, the reason I love the opening scene so much is because it reminded us that people are still coming after the child.
Yes.
Like, and the last episodes of last season kind of stepped away from that just a tiny bit. And then this, obviously the first episode of the season, we didn't get really anything coming after the child. And now we get that sense again of like, okay, he's still on the run from people with the child. Mm-hmm. And, even though like the larger plot is finding the Mandalorians and whatever else is going to happen this season, we still have to remember that he is still very much on the run from like half of the galaxy who is coming after him.
Yeah. And it was actually, to your point, was something that was brought up in the episode itself. Once we get to the Frog Lady stuff, like the Mandalorian realizes Din knows he's in trouble. Like these people are chasing him, and he brings that up when he's told he can't use any hyperdrive. And it was like, well, I can't really do that. I can't be going through systems and leaving myself out in the open. These people are gonna come for the child. Like they still want him. And I mean, even specifically, they want Din now too, probably. Like there's got to be a bounty on Din's head.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yes and no, because is Din still part of the guild? I'm not sure. But I mean,
it's more of the thing he pulled and stealing the baby and other people putting a bounty on him because of the child.
Yeah.
Like more specifically in my mind is that. And so obviously we get past the fight sequence and he ends up back at Mos Eisley at the cantina. It's very recognizable. We all know that cantina very, very well. That was a nice throwback, by the way. Like fun to see inside of it again. It just felt like home. We saw it last season, but It was nice.
I love that 8D8 is the
bartender.
Bartender.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Is it 8D8 or EV9?
I believe it was 88.
Yeah, I think it was 88.
Yeah.
We'll have to go ask a certain Showdown competitor about that. The Cantina was great, and I mean, they're playing they're playing Sabak, and we have the first thing I thought when I saw the ant alien was of this guy, and forgive me, it's a grainy picture. I don't think this guy exists anymore in the Cantina, but this guy,
the Mantis, yeah,
he used to. I don't think he's in the updated editions, right?
I don't think so, no.
They cut him out. But yeah, so there used to just be a big fucking praying mantis in the Cantina. So this was a nice throwback. We've seen Filoni do some, some throwbacks to older Star Wars concepts with, what has been corrected by George and what hasn't. We've seen Filoni and Favreau do that a few times. So it was nice to see that just big giant ant, sitting in the Cantina. But yeah, this scene was great. My question for you guys, did the fact that the Mandalorian walks in and all of a sudden he's, he has a lead on another Mandalorian, did that feel a little contrived to you? That just conveniently this praying mantis had information for him? Or the same?
No, not really. I mean, in a way, it kind of goes back to the Obi-Wan thing, right? You're never going to find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. These people are going to know stuff. It's one of the best places for you to be if you probably need information, because a lot of those creatures, a lot of these aliens and stuff, they are living in the underbelly of the universe. And where are you going to go for the information you need? The underbelly of the universe.
And we were talking about this before we went live. One of the things I like so much about this show, and I think is in the averse to so much else of what one might call peak or the second golden age of television, is how it really plays to the old-fashioned serials of the 40s and 50s. There is a certain mythology aspect to it. He definitely has a goal, and there are episodes where there's more about that than others, but every episode is really self-contained, and so I don't mind it playing with the tropes. Last week was obviously very much a play on a Western. Mm-hmm. So the idea that he goes to this bar where it's known that scum and villainy hang out to find out this information is fine. If he had found that information and ended up with the Mandalorians in this episode, okay, maybe that would have been too fast, but he's just piecing together the info he needs along his journey. And I like that it is so episodic. I think it's fun because it allows, especially now when you have these fun directors coming in who get to flex their Star Wars muscles a little bit. They get to, for the most part, tell a self-contained story, although I think this one's going to continue a little more, but still, everything on the icy rock was sort of self-contained.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're still watching this show expecting it to be a season-long story, you don't know what this show is.
Yeah,
right.
It's episode.
I'll admit it. When I first watched it, it took me a little to adjust to it, just because so much of what is on TV these days is very
serialized.
Yes,
very
serialized. That was what I was looking for.
I didn't think the Mandalorian would have more in common with CBS procedurals than not, but I like that it does. Yeah. I think it makes it really unique and stand out.
And it was funny because we were talking about this beforehand, like you said, and it was something that for a little bit also, I like it because it's clearly paying homage to the Flash Gordons of the world, right? And Flash Gordon and all those pulp serials in the 30s and 40s were the thing that Star Wars was heavily based off of.
Yep. And it's sort of coming full circle in its own way.
It's coming full circle, which is great.
The thing it reminds me of is Firefly.
Yeah.
Sure. Except told in the right order. Which again, Firefly is also an homage to those old West.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
They have the two shows share a lot of DNA. Absolutely.
Yeah, and so I enjoy it very much. And it's still taking me a little bit too to get into the vibe of it. Not in the bad way, but I am used to serialized storytelling in such a way where I'm ready to see the stuff with the Darksaber already. I want to see Moff Gideon come back, but also at the same time, I do like having these otherworldly adventures where we see fucking ice spiders and crazy shit with X-Wings.
One of the things in particular I liked about this episode, and I'm glad you mentioned X-Wings, is, we're really starting to get a picture of what the universe was like in between
The New Republic.
demise of the Emperor and the New Republic, and then eventually leading to the First Order. So seeing how that works, the dynamics of that, some of the dialogue the two X-wing pilots said was really, really interesting to me, in the way they're building out the world and what how it's working is fascinating.
Well, and some of the dialogue essentially alluded that they've kind of in a way become space cops.
Yes, exactly.
They cover sectors, very Green Lantern-esque, right? They have like their sections they cover, and it happened to be that these two X-wings were in charge of that sector, and it's something we've never seen in Star Wars before, which is really, really cool.
I love that.
I love the cool demeanor of Wolf, Filoni's character.
Yeah, and PJ didn't notice that Wolf was played by Dave Filoni, which was awesome.
So which is his second appearance as the same character.
Yes.
We got him right here. The one thing, a minor aside about Wolf here, is he's got the Commander Wolf logo on his helmet from the Clone Wars. But Filoni has this very like just routine business, flying. Same thing when they blew up that fucking space station last episode. He's just like, all right, well, weapons hot, It just starts blasting. I mean, Din's reaction is very much like, I don't know, we're all from different parts of the country, but I've known people here in Orange County that are very much like, oh, well, yeah, it's it's an older car, it's an older truck, so it doesn't have seat belts, but that's okay because it's legal. Or, oh yeah, my speedometer's broken.
Not just
I might as well.
Yeah, it wasn't just you, PJ.
Like, oh well, my speedometer's broken. I might as well just, I'm sorry, officer. I'll get it fixed later, and they never do. And that's pretty much the vibe that Din's giving off, at the traffic stop.
Yeah, it was a traffic stop. He was pulled over.
Right, and that's 100% the vibe I was getting from it too, and I loved that for it because at least for me, like, I know what it's like. You get nervous, like no matter what. It's a weird thing to get stopped, and especially down here for me, there's a lot of security checkpoints and stuff because I live very close to the U.S. border, and so we also deal with like people stopping you, like looking in the car, and that idea of what if they saw something they thought is suspicious. And for Din,
I mean, if
literally
they
has
you
something
over, they're always gonna see something suspicious,
right? But I mean, specifically here where they're looking for people,
And by the way, about Filoni, I get it. It's hard to recognize him without his hat.
Yeah, the helmet on his head instead.
I get it.
Thank you.
What did you guys think of Frog Lady?
What a character!
I
thought she was kind of delightful.
Yeah, I think she's a really
I love
cool
the
little
design.
species.
Yeah.
I thought the makeup work was great, like super expressive face. I love the way she used her tongue. And then I particularly loved, and it took me a minute to realize what was happening because it was kind of dark, when they're running away from the spiders and she's literally frog leaping. I was like, oh, that's awesome.
It very much reminded me of like X-Men 3.
Yes. Yes, you're not wrong.
Well, so I think if they had just gone on with her character being the same as she was when they introduced her in the beginning, I probably would have felt different. But each sequence, there was a new layer revealed about her. Yes. Right? She had hijacked the droid to communicate with Din, which is very intelligent. Yes. And then later on, we also see that she's very handy with a blaster. Like, she kind of became and evolved into a different character than when she was first introduced, which is why I enjoyed her so much, because she wasn't just like this passenger that couldn't do anything. She was literally holding her weight the entire episode.
Right. And because you got Richard Ayoade back to voice Q9. So that was fun to make sure he had a good time coming back.
Pinpoint accuracy with that blaster.
Yeah.
Right on top of Baby Yoda's head. Like,
it makes me want to know like what sort of shit she's been in trying to get these eggs to her husband.
Well, so it's. Oh, go ahead, Sean.
No, after you.
I was going to say. On a tangent. Okay, well, especially considering we know that they're like a last of their line sort of species thing, and especially their line in particular, they're trying to get it to survive, and so I thought that gave like a really cool precedent. There's a ticking time bomb to the situation, if you will, which when they end up on the ice planet, by the way, I don't know
Do we know the name of that planet, by the way? I'm not sure.
No, but I got strong.
Here, hold on. I'll look.
I got strong Star Tours vibes. The original Star Tours.
Yeah.
It very much felt like a nod to that, especially in the way that the situation kind of goes down.
Well, when he goes, I'm not a taxi service.
Mm-hmm.
I know but Amy Sedaris is doing the voice or language of the frog lady was hysterical to me.
Yes.
I was dying.
Can I just say
she's so funny as an actress to begin with, and then her doing these unintelligible roars and screeches killed me. She's so great.
Also, the fact that she's like, I would what was it? She was like, I would give my life for this person, or trust my life for the frog lady, and then she's like, I've known her an hour, and he's like, I thought you said you trust her with your life.
I think it was only an
hour. It was 10 minutes.
Right? And she was like, what can I say? I'm a great judge of character. The Amy Sedaris character has come so far for me, and
anytime they want to bring her back, I'm happy.
Yeah.
All right, so my tangent here, it's become a tradition here on the PJ Campbell Network Water Cooler Talk.
Yes, 2 episodes now of it.
Yeah, for Frank Janish to give some crackpot theory that is completely off base. So here's today since Frank couldn't be here today on Frank Janish crackpot theory
I think
hour.
Jake is definitely a clear upgrade.
So clearly Frog Lady, right?
Right.
Frog Lady is definitely not Boba Fett.
No, it's fair to say.
But Frog Lady is probably one of the caretakers on Octo.
Oh,
You've heard it here first, okay? I'm telling you, I'm saying it. Frog Lady is one of the Octo caretakers.
Look,
uncanny resemblance.
I've heard worse. I've heard worse theories. She aged so gracefully.
Yeah. I think that Din is going to take Frog Lady to meet Luke Skywalker, and then Luke Skywalker is going to take Frog Lady to Octo.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
I hope someone sends this to Frank later so he can see that he has his own part of the show. Crackpot.
I also wanted to talk about Ludwig Göransson's music. He wrote a theme for this episode when Baby Yoda is sort of tinkling around, going to investigate things. That was so innocent and joyful.
Yes.
And I'm hoping last season, after every episode, they put out a full release for each episode. They haven't done that yet, so I'm hoping they do.
They may do a single.
Yeah, maybe they'll just do
release.
one album. I don't know.
So real quick, that planet has been confirmed to be Maldo Kreis, which was the planet we saw in Chapter 1.
Oh, wow.
The very opening scene.
Right.
Oh, interesting.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so the planet they crashed on in this episode is confirmed to be Maldo Kreis, which is where he got Horatio Sands in the first episode.
Oh.
That's very interesting.
Huh. It kind of also reminded me of the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek, when Kirk crashes and then runs into Spock.
Yeah.
So that brings up something really interesting, because if he can get there in sublight travel, clearly he has to get there quickly. If he can get there in sublight travel, it seems like he's very much. This whole show is taking place in a very small corner of the galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
So far,
right? Well, and I would imagine it sticks to that, and I'm hoping that means that most of the planets we're going to see, maybe a couple new ones a season, but most of the planets are going to be repetition.
Which I'm not necessarily against. I know
I'm not either.
Well, it also makes sense from a financial standpoint, just from a logistical. If you get to reuse, you build a couple sets. But I think it makes sense that his story would be relatively contained.
I think
in the galaxy.
Yeah, and I think he might get farther into the Outer Rim area because he's already so close to it anyway.
Well, I mean, he's in it.
He's in the Outer Rim.
Or I should say not the Outer Rim.
Oh, the unknown regions.
Wild space.
Yeah, wild space.
Yeah.
Because obviously, again, there is ties back to Rebels and things, and we clearly know that somewhere Thrawn and Ezra are probably out in wild space. Speaking
of Rebels, the spiders, which I always mispronounce Krykna.
I think that sounds good.
We saw a couple times in Rebels, Sabine and Ezra had to deal with them. And having them and Filoni in the episode, it felt very much, the influence of Rebels on The Mandalorian is very clear.
Mm-hmm. And I want to say,
especially because we've heard rumors of what characters we may be seeing in future episodes.
Right, and for also potentially setting up their own series, which also makes a lot of sense. And I love that once we got to this planet, though, it became a straight-up horror film. Like,
I was just going to say, I am so happy that we finally get to see Star Wars horror.
Yep.
Right. Like, we got a alien/alien style Star Wars adventure, which
right.
I've been waiting for forever. Like, the closest thing we got to that was Death Troopers in the old Legends canon.
The episode last season with Bill Burr was kind of
Haunted House.
The prison
house horror, But speaking of the spiders and aliens, it gave me serious Chamber of Secrets vibes.
That's I brought that up yesterday to a buddy, and I had forgot what the scene in Harry Potter had looked like, but it's almost identical, right? Because the bunch of spiders and everything.
You have the main big spider who's controlling, and then all the little ones coming to it. Wow, that's such great concept art.
So this is Ralph McQuarrie art for Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Look at the way it's laying eggs, by the way. Terrifying.
It's freaking scary.
And
when
Maxwell.
When Baby Yoda was walking and went up to that thing and opened it and ate it, and I realized what it was, I was like, oh shit, there's a mama somewhere.
Yeah. That was the pacing for that scene was so good. And seeing fucking Frog Lady in the hot tub.
I loved that. And she was warming up her eggs.
Well, and it was great when they got ready to run, she's naked in the hot tub.
Yep.
And she just does the tongue shot to grab her clothes.
At first, when Yoda was eating the eggs, I was like, that's disgusting. But then I was like, well, I mean, they're just eggs. I literally just had eggs for breakfast. So it's like,
you didn't have eggs of a sentient species.
Yeah.
I mean, chickens are sentient, my friend. Sentient does not suggest that they can communicate in the same language. They have feelings. They have emotions. They're alive. They breathe.
Do they have emotions? Do chickens have emotions?
I mean, I've seen angry chickens, so I would assume they experience emotions.
I don't know if that's anger or just,
Anyways, I'm not saying I would eat the Frog Lady's eggs, but when I realized it's just eggs. They're delicious.
You've been to Paris, though.
I have been to Paris.
Okay. I mean, look,
I have eaten snails.
And Baby Yoda is all of us. If I see hard-boiled eggs, I'm going to eat the hard-boiled egg.
My pop socket.
Yeah, see? But look, I loved... Can we just talk about this whole episode, too?
Of course, Sean is in here saying animals don't have emotions like humans. Okay, Dr. Doolittle.
I loved that whole sequence of Baby Yoda, stealing the eggs and Mando being like, stop. Stop eating the eggs. He's just like a concerned parent. Like, can you please stop doing this?
The father-child dynamic was when they're in the hot tub and he's collecting the eggs to put it, and Yoda was reaching for one, and he's like, no. I was like, this is such a great dynamic.
Total shit stir this episode.
Yeah,
total shit stir.
He's going around like do. What can I do? Well, and after the child had a relatively subdued presence in the first episode, it was nice to see the focus switch back to him a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that was very intentional. Obviously, was the first episode was really about Din, but this one was clearly more about their relationship.
But I think the contrast is nice because obviously the child was the breakout character of the first season. I think a big reason why a lot of people fell in love with the show is the child. But last week's episode showed that the show can exist beautifully by doing other things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that they're setting themselves up for such success in the way that they find the different ways to shift the focus in different episodes. And as we get more characters too, we'll see more of that, which is great. I mean, obviously we have so many other characters that we kind of know are coming back. It'll be fun to see how the show deals with that perspective as it comes.
And there's one character who I hope never comes back, and I'd like them to find a way to write that character out.
They're coming back. I'm sorry to say, Max, they will come back this season. Next season, we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look.
I like the character.
I do like the character.
I like the character.
I don't disagree. I
do fine if they recast the character. I just look. I mean, look. We can say it. the truth is that Gina Carano is very problematic now.
Very.
That's the elephant in the room, and it's something that Disney's going to have to deal with.
And
it's not.
And if you particularly this week looked at some of what she's been liking and saying about the election, it's just
yes. And here's my thing. Like, this is not we aren't tolerant of other sides things. There's a time and a place for how to act, and liking tweets about
there is
protesters
right
is not okay.
I have no tolerance for blatant transphobia.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the end of it.
It's a human rights issue. It's not a political issue. And that
I would just love if all of a sudden Amy Sedaris is also Cara Dune. Like, just do it.
Oh God, why not? What a shift.
Why not?
Who would you recast as Cara Dune?
Ronda Rousey. Just get another MMA fighter. I don't know. Or Michelle Rodriguez. Would be pretty good.
Oh. Michelle Rodriguez is just a much smaller human.
But she's still a very, buff.
She's got a commanding presence, but she's like, because I'm pretty sure Gina Carano's like 5'9". I don't think Michelle Rodriguez is taller than like 5'6".
Yeah, but when you recast a character, the audience just recognizes it's a different actor, so you sort of just go with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought obviously the show has a high budget, but all the effects on the spiders looked great.
I was going to bring up the visuals in this episode specifically, and the one thing we haven't talked about is the dogfight with the X-Wings.
Was amazing,
and how visually stunning not just the entire thing was, but how great the X-Wings themselves look.
Yep,
and they look so old school with the models, and they look so close to what the original X-Wings had looked. Mm-hmm. And then obviously the way Din flies too is, to me, is just like I attract to ships. Like in Star Wars, that's kind of like my thing. And the way he is so risky flying and just takes chances, I love it. And we're again seeing progressions of his character and new things each episode come from him. We've never seen him fly like that. The fact that he just went straight down to get away, like
that was thrilling,
crazy.
One of my favorite things of any sort of space opera is great aerial dogfights. So I thought this was maybe the best one this show has done so far. I didn't know this, but it's good to know. So I retract my previous statement about Ronda Rousey.
You're gonna find something problematic about anyone if you look far enough.
I mean, I certainly found it about you.
Yeah, I know.
And look, I think to the point of Jake, like one of the things that the sequel trilogy, in my opinion, did very poorly for the most part was the aerial battles. Like, I think that Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker in particular, I thought Ryan did a pretty great job in the opening sequence of The Last Jedi, but like I missed big space battles. And that was something that the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy especially did very, very well. Like the opening of Revenge of the Sith is some of the most thrilling that Star Wars has ever been. And like, I want more of that. That flight over Coruscant is just remarkable. And so I'd love to see more things like that. And I thought that they did such a great job in this. And even like once they kind of like zoomed in on the pilots and stuff of the episode, I just got like such nostalgic feels for A New Hope and Return of the Jedi, and like just seeing those costumes again. I'm not saying that I need Star Wars to be nostalgic. I clearly don't, because I actually like the sequel trilogy quite a bit. But also, like, it's fun to see that stuff again. And I'm reminded of why I like Star Wars so much. And I think Filoni and Favreau find the right balance of pushing forward, but also being like, the past happened and it matters, and we need to respect and like hearken to it.
I think what one of the important things about when you're filming a Star Wars space battle, there's two major things. Three major things. Camera angles, and that comes in two parts. The camera angles of the ships, and the camera angles you choose to focus on the pilots with.
Right.
That was the flaw in Rise of Skywalker. We didn't get any focus on the pilots, except for the pilots we already know. And what makes Return of the Jedi and Rogue One so good is you get some random Hammerhead Corvette pilot.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
This episode very much did that. They did the camera angle zooms in on the pilots. The pilots are saying things as they're fighting. They've got the comm chatter. And then the third thing is the sound design.
Yeah.
Sound design for those X-Wings is fucking gold. Harkens back to the original cuts of A New Hope. some of it gets muddied in the newer editions, but like the noise that a X-wing makes when it fires and the noise it flies is a very specific noise.
The noise of the blasters when the X-wing pilots came to help with the spiders.
At the end, yeah.
Oh, so much pure nostalgia to hear those sounds in that way.
So one of the things about that I noticed is the first couple blaster shots sound like an X-wing.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think it's clearly is.
Maybe they were, yeah.
Right. So I just found that really interesting. You can hear the progression of those noises from X-wing to I don't know the name of that blaster. Fuck, I shouldn't have said that in front of PJ. They've got the standard issue Rebellion blaster rifles.
Yeah.
I
kind of want to.
There's a 5-pointer for you.
Yeah. What PJ was saying a little bit, and please understand, I am a massive fan of Force Awakens and Last Jedi. I adore them, very, very much.
Yep.
But if I were to take the sequel trilogy on a macro level, I would say my biggest issue with it is that clearly along the way they felt like they had to be too beholden to what had come before and too much in the image of the original trilogy. And what I'm liking about what Mandalorian is doing is it's finding more of a balance. So you have these things like the X-Wings and going back to Tatooine and Mos Eisley, while also telling stories and having a main character that we've never really focused on in live action Star Wars before. So that balance is really thrilling. You can sort of have your cake and eat it too, which is what Filoni was always so good at on Clone Wars and Rebels anyways.
Well, and even I would say to a point, like, I mean, Filoni wasn't as
an A280 blaster rifle.
But
clearly I'm the one who should compete in the Star Wars division.
What was it? What was the show that was set that they did 2 seasons of that was set during Force Awakens? Resistance. Like
it was not my favorite, but it was a fun show.
It got better in the second season.
Yeah. Resistance's first season was a bit rough. The
animation style took me a while to adjust to also.
Yeah.
So I love the animation. I know we're not talking about Resistance, but I love the animation style on
you can't talk about Star Wars without talking about Star Wars.
About all of it.
It's just
I love the animation style on Resistance. I didn't love the character
Kaz
choices. Kaz was fine. The problem with Kaz was he never grew up. And like at the start of the series, here's a whole fucking tangent, right? I know it's a kid's show, right? I understand it's
it was definitely more aimed at kids.
More so than Rebels and Clone Wars.
Yeah. And that was my issue. More so than Rebels and Clone Wars. The same age audience is going to watch Resistance as watched Clone Wars. Like, ultimately.
Right.
Kaz wasn't treated with respect by the writers. He was treated as a kid's show character and not as a Star Wars character. Because at the start of that series, he's already a New Republic X-Wing pilot, meaning he's 18, 16, minimum 16, you know? He's an adult in the Star Wars universe.
And I think there are other examples of characters similarly aged in the universe being treated with more respect, like Ezra.
That's what I was going to say.
Or,
Ezra clearly.
My favorite of the Disney era Star Wars books, Lost Stars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I would,
and Sienna, yeah.
Love that book so much, and those characters are young, but they're given nuance and depth and growth.
Even Luke Skywalker to a point, right? Because he's clearly a teenager, and when A New Hope starts, by the time you get to Return of the Jedi, he's had to age up and he's had to change.
And Rey too. Although Rey was always, I think, more resourceful and mature than Luke was when it started.
Not disagreeing with that at all.
She wasn't complaining about power converters, although she did want more credits.
But I just want to go to Tashi Station.
Look, really, we know that Rey is a capitalist through and through.
All right, that's enough out of you. But I'll say too, one of the things that I liked about this episode too is, as we've talked about this, is that
I think he did that himself. Actually,
I know he did that.
Because I wasn't me.
I think Jake Berlin did it.
If I had access, I would have.
I didn't realize Jake had that power over here.
Yeah. Well, Jake's a $10 patron on top of everything else, so you got to give him access. If Sean has it at $2, but
Sean's Son's a literal member of the network.
Well, I mean, you know, Jake.
Barely, but
I'll say, like, one of the things I like too is that we did get a call back, obviously, to the aforementioned episode you talked about that Rick Famuyiwa did last year, which was the haunted house jail episode.
The prison.
And so when the prison, yeah, and just have to call back to that, and when the Rebel pilots finally start talking to Din, and they're like, "You were there, like, were you involved in that situation?" And like, kind of the way that they barter his freedom was very fascinating to me. And it's
so nice to have a name to call him finally.
Right.
To call him Din instead of just the Mando.
I call him Mando still. I still call him Mando.
I do too. I have been throughout, but it was just, I like that because we're also seeing a side of the rebellion where it's like in this New Republic, they kind of play shady too. Like they catch a guy who's, you know, wanted and has a pretty big bounty.
This era we're seeing in Star Wars in between the end of the Emperor and the New Republic is literally from today until January 20th.
Well, no. I mean, there's a direct correlation. The time post Galactic Civil War is 100% the time post American Civil War. The same things happen, you know.
No, and I wasn't. I mean, I was being.
You're not wrong.
Funny to a point, but this is very much a similar period in time where
I phrased it as if you're wrong, Max. I didn't mean.
No. It's fine.
Adding to what you meant to say, not detracting.
Which is why when people say get politics and social justice out of Star Wars, I'm like, bitch, have you seen the first movies?
I know Star Wars, and as far as I'm aware, there's no politics in Star Wars.
Look, I'll say this.
And just to cheer everyone up, we'll go ahead and.
This was so random, but last night I had a dude who.
Baby Yoda. I love how it ends, sort of, where they're like about to keep going on their journey. The ship is okay. And then Yoda looks around and just pops one last egg in his mouth.
And he does it. He looks her straight in her eyes.
Yeah,
and
he's
then
on the mischievous side for sure.
I don't like that.
You didn't like that?
I've heard a lot of people say that.
I actually think she gave it to him.
No,
and I think that's why he looked at her.
No, because she like.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. I don't know if I'd agree with that because she had said that this is the last of her bloodline.
I know, but she still has plenty, clearly.
But I
don't know, man. I mean, it didn't feel as mean-spirited to me. Maybe I'm wrong.
It didn't feel mean-spirited to me because he's a baby.
I think, and
like babies just go around and eat stuff.
To be honest with you, that's kind of what I didn't like. You know, it goes back to the idea of these are sentient, intelligent creatures that he's eating the eggs of.
Dude, we eat chicken eggs.
Not intelligent creatures. Chickens are
not. Well, they did say in the episode, though, that they were unfertilized. If that helps.
Fine. That's fine. It's still a bit...
He's not eating fetuses.
I will say that I've heard a lot of people on Sean's side. I have heard a lot of people say that they don't like it, the whole egg thing, because the whole mission or the whole idea of the episode is to get her bloodline somewhere where they can live. And then Baby Yoda's eating these eggs like it's king.
Just appreciate real quick, if you guys look at the chat, John Smith is literally having conversations with us as this is happening. And
I've been putting them over
the chat. I know, but I just love seeing it.
You know, if it was Mando eating the eggs, that's a different story.
I think Max, that's my problem. Is like it's played for laughs, and what is like I'm not like disgusted by the fact that oh my god he's eating a fetus or an embryo, whatever. It's more just like I feel like there's character building that could be there, and instead it's played for laughs. And I think ultimately that's part of my problem with. Ultimately, that's part of my problem with the way Baby Yoda is sometimes handled by some of the directors, whereas others handle him a lot better.
Sure.
Yes, he should be cute, and yes, he should be charming and funny. But when something like this happens and it's played for laughs, it's a great character building moment. And
I get it.
I hear what you're saying.
And you know what? I actually kind of like that if we're debating anything, it's about Baby Yoda eating eggs, and we're not talking about how you felt about like Last Jedi or, you know, just in general. Like I like that the debate in the Star Wars universe right now is should baby Yoda be able to eat eggs? Like, can we just talk about how simple that feels and how nice it is? Like, it's just kind of a good feeling. But
I get the other side. Personally, it didn't bother me. I thought it was consistent with the fact that he's a mischievous baby who is finally getting an opportunity to explore the world and all this stuff and still learning.
And he gives no fucks.
Yeah.
And if the point of the episode wasn't get the last of her line to safety, if they had never said like, oh, this is the last of her line, it wouldn't be a problem to me.
Yeah.
Right.
That's fair. And
she still had like 30 eggs in there, so we'll see. I'm expecting. So do we think, because we've talked about how serialized it is, or rather how episodic it is versus serialized. Do we think next week the Frog Lady will still be there and they'll drop her off, or they'll?
This is 100% part 1.
Yes.
Yeah, it felt like a to be continued without saying it.
Yeah,
No,
I think that season 4 is going to be
Season 4.
Yeah, I don't think it'll come up as much in season 3, but I think in season 4, we are going to shift focus to Frog Lady recultivating her species.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Frank Janish is back, ladies and gentlemen.
No, so we'll. Oh, go ahead, PJ.
Oh no, real quick, just before we've gone totally off the rails, the thing I was going to note though about that sequence with the Rebel pilots and Din is that also harkens back to something that we saw a lot of in The Last Jedi and the character that Benicio del Toro played. Because his whole thing was how he played both sides and how both sides are more corrupt than people give credit for, like who's really the hero. And so we're seeing a little bit of what DJ was saying in this sequence in particular, because the rebellion's letting him walk away. And I thought that was interesting.
And I wanted to bring that up because we know that at one point, if you read the books, that the Resistance and the New Republic are two completely different things.
Right.
And I kind of got a sense in this episode that these pilots being part of the New Republic, that the New Republic is kind of like the asshole dickwads of the group.
Yes.
And the Resistance are very much like the respectable side of it all. Like I don't know what everybody else is thinking or if that's like was the intention or whatever. But I just felt like they were kind of like the cocky, popular kids who kind of pick on everybody.
Timeline-wise, the Resistance.
I don't disagree with you.
Timeline-wise, the Resistance won't form for another 22 years.
Okay, so it did take a while. Okay.
Yeah. The Resistance isn't formed until about 7 years before.
Because that happened in Bloodline, right?
Yeah, that's Bloodline.
Okay. Okay.
Because like that's the whole setup of that is that once the information about Leia comes out, we turn that corner on the Republic trusting her.
Yeah.
Liz,
My wife, ladies and gentlemen.
you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
There's a food chain.
But I did like that because again, I felt like it played into stuff that we had seen, and so to me, it kind of felt like reaffirming what DJ had said in The Last Jedi, which was a nice thing because The Last Jedi, very hotly contested. And so to kind of take that and be like, this is part of something that we heard someone talk about, it just worked for me. So,
Yeah. I thought that was cool. And I always like when Star Wars has moral ambiguity as opposed to just black and white. And I think a lot of Star Wars has done a good job with that, but this scene was a particularly strong point of that. And then it speaks to Din's journey, getting away from the guild, getting away from the Mandalorian, going more out on his own as sort of a lone gunslinger, protecting his son, his
baby,
his murdering son.
But it worked for me, and I'm excited to see what the next.
I didn't realize the Mandalorian was going to do their riff on "We need to talk about Kevin."
I didn't either, but here we are.
I do have a question though, leading into next week. If this is in fact a part 1 or part 2, do we think that we will officially see an actual Mandalorian next episode?
I think so. I think it almost.
I think it's possible
to happen because I mean the system or the planet that they're going to. She said it was there, right? So if she's dropping it off, I mean, could it be Sabine?
She could be lying. Well, so we know we can kind of use context clues here.
Trailer screenshots. Yeah.
The trailer shows Sasha Banks on a dockside
Right.
And people are speculating that Sasha Banks is Sabine.
Which seems quite fair to me.
I hope not.
I hope not too.
I don't know much about. Not that I don't want Sabine in the show. I desperately want Sabine in the show. I just don't know if she's the right casting for it.
I don't necessarily disagree with you. I see where you're coming from.
Just put Tia Sakar in.
She'd be great.
Mando armor. I mean,
she'd be so great.
Yeah. I mean, but then again, I mean, as we know, like the rumor is that Rosario Dawson is Ahsoka Tano.
Okay, but that's fair because Ashley Eckstein doesn't really look like Ahsoka at all.
Yeah.
But
No,
Tia
I know.
Sakar does look like.
And Ashley Eckstein is a voice actress more so than an actual.
And I agree with you guys, but there's a lot of the fandom who was very upset about it, saying that you could have just as easily done makeup and done the same thing.
Yeah,
so
agreed.
My point being is that they are not adverse to recasting in live action, as we know. So
Yeah.
that was more my bigger point.
It's just so thrilling to not know anything about the next episode. Like, we don't even know who directed it.
Right.
Yeah, well, and that's the best part. When I had no idea who directed this episode, and when Peyton Reed's name popped up, I go, one, that's awesome. Two, it makes total sense that he directed this episode.
I'm going to be honest with you, but this is like my new favorite thing about the episodes is seeing who directed each one at the end. Like when the name pops up, because I get a little thrilled to be like, that makes so much sense. Like, you know that their filmography. And then at the same time, like last week when Favreau's name popped up, I just got such joy being like, that makes sense. But also, like, we also got to see him finally dip his toe in the Star Wars universe as a director, and how exciting that is. Now Peyton Reed is same thing with Taika last season. Like, it's just cool.
I can't wait to see whatever Robert Rodriguez is cooked up.
You and me both. Yeah. The Rodriguez one is the one I'm so hyped
about. That and wherever James Mangold fit in as far as the action sequence he directed, I can't wait to see that.
I wonder.
He just did one.
He didn't do an episode. He did like a full-on big action sequence where he directed all of it.
Yeah, I wonder
which director he worked with.
I want to say it might have been.
But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it's something like Robert Rodriguez.
Well, hold on, but what if he directed the Crate Dragon scene?
Maybe.
He could have.
Oh, Favreau? Maybe.
Of all the directors involved in this season, Favreau is the one who I would think least needs assistance with action.
Yeah.
And I'd say Rodriguez would be number 2, specifically because
Carl Weathers is directing an episode. I don't think he has a lot of experience directing.
There you go.
Or maybe he paired with Filoni.
Yeah, or Bryce Dallas Howard, who I thought did a great job in the first season. I loved her episode, and I'm glad she's back.
But I don't think she needed help with that.
No, I don't. I mean, her. I mean, I'm sure she learned everything she needed to from her dad.
I would not be shocked if it was Carl Weathers or Dave Filoni, because there's one thing that I felt like Filoni still needs help with. It's how to build action.
Which episode was Filoni's last season?
Filoni was 1 in 5, so it was the Tatooine episode and the pilot. And I've always felt like those 2 episodes clearly stood out as the weakest links of the seasons. I
think we know that Filoni is back for 5.
I think 1 was brilliant as far as action goes. The way that
I think that it's good, but it's clearly also done by someone who hasn't done a lot of action.
I'm a little sad Deborah Chow didn't come back because I thought she directed some of the best last season. And Tyson
3.
Yeah, but she's also busy doing Obi-Wan prep right now.
Right. No, I get it. I totally get it.
Which
she got the promotion.
Real quick, I mean, I guess since we're here, because we're kind of wrapping up our feelings on the episode, what are your guys' feelings on the fact that it sounds like a Boba Fett series, miniseries, just started filming this week? Deadline reported that the season started filming, and it's not Mandalorian. It is a separate series. I'm very curious, number one, to see who's involved.
So it's probably clearly a spin-off.
Yeah, so I actually wouldn't be surprised if it's set before we see.
I was just going to say, what if it's about him escaping the Sarlacc pit?
Yeah, it could be a prequel to the
miniseries.
Okay, go ahead, Sean.
This is unrelated. I mean, it is directly related.
I like that you're changing the subject of the subject.
No, I'm not changing the subject. I'm altering the course of the subject. Okay. Something that I brought up on the Gucciverse was, what if Boba doesn't show up in the rest of the season?
I don't think that's because when they announced that, why am I blanking on his name?
Tamura Morrison.
Yeah, when Morrison was cast, THR's like big thing with that exclusive was it is not a one-off appearance. he is going to be throughout the
Right.
season.
But he could play other characters. He could play Rex.
Yeah.
But they were
He could play other clones.
they were very specific in the reporting. And I trust them not to screw something like that up. And I mean, you could be right. However,
it's possible.
I'm just saying, if like with the news of this, it almost seems like the two could have been conflated.
Maybe, and that's very possible, because if they were doing pre-pro on both at the same time,
we have no confirmation that who we saw last week was Boba.
Oh, Frank, get out of here!
And that was the other thing.
Look, when you have clones, it could be anyone. They all look the same.
Franklin, killing me, Frank.
Oh man, but
Occam's razor is likely the case, but
it's just very interesting, and I'm curious, because is it a show about Jake just?
Honestly, forget a Boba spinoff. Just make a Cobb Vanth show so I could just watch Timothy Oliphant.
That's what everybody wants now instead.
Yeah. I think it's possible.
I don't think the Fett series is like a. I think Fett, whatever it is going to be
like
a one and done.
3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah, it's going to be a very one and done. I wouldn't be shocked if it's pre whatever we see him in this episode. Probably escaping the Sarlacc, which obviously the first episode did a lot of how can someone survive even a crate dragon and like get away. But what is he doing on Tatooine?
Very much explaining how one could escape a Sarlacc pit without actually showing how.
Yes.
It's laying the groundwork for sure.
And I think that series would rightfully be about Boba in a time that I think that we're going to find that Boba Fett and Obi-Wan are going to have had very similar paths in very different parts of their lives, where Boba escapes the Sarlacc and he lives on Tatooine and he gets more angry and more jaded, whereas Obi-Wan uses that time to reflect and become the Obi-Wan that you know in A New Hope.
Do you think we're going to see those two cross paths?
It's possible.
Like the Boba Fett and the Kenobi series, like Boba Fett's going to escape the Sarlacc and go find Obi-Wan on Tatooine?
There's no possible way timeline-wise for that to happen, Sean. I don't know how to tell you that.
Although, to be fair, Rebels did introduce time travel into the Star Wars universe.
As the holiday special, as we've seen, is playing.
The holiday special is going to show us,
When Rebels did that, I've just been waiting for the other shoe to drop in a further Star Wars media with the time travel.
Can I also just say, how delightful was that holiday special trailer, you guys?
So good.
Yeah, it looks really, really fun.
I like it. I'm going to watch it.
I'm just waiting for the Lego Star Wars complete game that's supposed to come.
Yes.
I've been seeing, like, every time I walk into the stores that have like the Star Wars stuff up right now, a lot of them actually have posters for it. And it makes me happy.
There's so many Legos I want to buy, but we're about to move to a slightly smaller apartment, and I'm trying to decide what to put in storage. And unfortunately, I think my Lego kits are going to have to go into storage, because it's like when you live in an apartment, you build them, then what do? Take them apart? No, I want to display them. I worked on them.
Yeah, but I'm excited. I think that if anything, Mando has proved why Star Wars can work on television. I think that the technology they've created continues to push the series forward in very, very, very cool ways. And the idea of doing Boba Fett, the idea of doing Obi-Wan, to do all this stuff, it works. It makes sense, and it's very fucking cool. Like, I love the trajectory we're on, and I look forward to whatever we see next, because I don't think that if we get Ahsoka Tano and Rex this season, that it's a one and done. Like, I think that this is specifically being set up to do a live action continuation of Rebels, and I think that's fucking awesome.
Which would thrill me, because I don't know if I've ever cried more watching anything than I did when a certain someone met his demise in Rebels, and those last 4 or 5 episodes.
That entire back half of that season was.
Oh my god! Liz, my wife had to come over and be like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "It's just a lot. It's just a lot."
Look, chat. If you've never seen Rebels,
could not get my higher recommendation.
Watch it.
Please go watch it. Go watch Rebels.
Like, I really love Clone Wars too, but I like Rebels so much more. I think Rebels takes less time to find its footing, and just overall, like, structurally as a show, does more in the long run. And Clone Wars got so good towards the end. Like, those last 3 or 4 seasons are fantastic, but it takes so long for the show to finally gear up to it, which is why, like, this last season was thrilling. We finally got the end, and it was like we geared up for it and we got it. But it also, like, the lead up to it, just those first couple seasons of Clone Wars are rough to rewatch. Like, every time I go back, I'm reminded, I'm like, I don't love season 1, especially season 1. So it was fun to be like, Rebels starts strong and ends even stronger, and I think it just did so much. And I want to revisit those characters so bad.
Yeah, I love those characters. Rebels also has some of, for me, the best character development ever in Star Wars with Callus.
Oh, yeah.
That character and his arc over the 4 seasons is incredibly well written and voiced by David Oyelowo.
And one of the best love stories in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't disagree.
What we're saying is Mando's great, but watch Rebels if you haven't seen it.
Wait, which love story do we think I'm talking about?
Hopefully Hera and
exactly.
No, I'm talking about Callus and Zeb.
Yeah, Callus and Zeb. I agree. They were definitely in love.
Yeah,
fair enough.
I don't think Star Wars was ready to take that plunge yet, but it was.
I mean, Resistance did have an openly gay couple, so.
Oh yeah, the fucking
Mike,
salvage shop.
You have to finish it.
Mike,
it nails the landing in such a impactful
season
way.
2, 3, and 4 are some of the best Star Wars you could see as far as like.
Yeah, I would put Rebels up there with like my 2 favorite Star Wars feature films.
Even the.
My birthday cake this year had the Rebels characters. Chopper is like my favorite droid other than BB-8.
That pilot episode of Rebels is so fucking good. Like even contained is like 40 minutes of great Star Wars, and it just so inherently made me remember why I love the series so much, because we were at such a weird time with the series. Like we had gotten The Force Awakens, but at the same time, like we were still figuring out what Star Wars under Disney was going to look like. And that to me specifically was, this is what Star Wars under Disney is going to look like. It's harkening back. Like the music was fucking incredible and it was doing the right thing.
Kilner?
Yeah.
Kleiner?
It was doing the right thing of
Kevin
Kiner.
His work is extraordinary.
Rebels is so fucking good is what I'm getting at.
Like only John Williams can write Star Wars. I'm like, music. I'm like, first of all, no.
Mike K, if you don't watch all of it, for the sake of The Mandalorian, watch the first 2 episodes of season 4.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Because they heavily tie into The Mandalorian.
Yeah. All right. Well, does anyone have any like final thoughts or want to sum up their thoughts on The Passenger?
My final thoughts are I want Jake Berlin on every episode we talk about of Star Wars from now on.
It's fine with me. I'll add him to the credits.
Yeah, because I like it, and we need less Frank Janish conspiracy theories.
Couldn't agree more.
I mean, look,
having Frank Janish on the network makes me almost as mad as when Brandon Hanna showed up.
I would like maybe what we can do, and maybe this is an off-air conversation, but maybe we have Frank Janish film like a 5-minute. His 5-minute theory per episode, and we just tear it apart.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
We react to
that'd be amazing.
Yeah. I think this is a great idea.
I love it.
All right.
I thought it was a good episode, not as good as the first, but I just love seeing Star Wars dive into these other genres like horror, and it's so fun. And I think Peyton Reed did a really nice job, and good stuff.
It was so good, guys, and I can't wait for more Star Wars. Like I love loving Star Wars again. Like the last year,
I never stopped loving Star Wars. It's the discourse that killed it for me.
And I think that's it. Like the last year was so tumultuous within this community. So Mandalorian coming back just reminded me, like, we can talk Star Wars and have a good time, which is why I was like, I'm so glad that the biggest thing in Star Wars right now is whether Baby Yoda should have eaten that egg or not. Like, that to me is the discourse we need to be having. Like, come on, guys.
We're gonna have Baby Yoda egg truthers soon.
Yeah, we really are.
I you know what? I'm gonna be the Alex Jones of the Baby Yoda egg truthers.
Please don't. No.
Look, so good, I just don't think Baby Yoda should have eaten that egg.
God.
Okay.
I mean,
with that.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to run through some of the stuff we have coming up just quickly again, and then everyone will tell us what they got to promote and where we can find them, and then we'll let you enjoy the rest of your celebratory happy Joe Biden, Kamala Harris Day. So we're not doing an unwind this week because of the 24-hour stream on Twitch. Some call me Johnny's Twitch. Raising money for the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. Chris Clark's a part of that. I may pop in with my voice at some point. But also tonight, I am on the Adult Spelling Bee Psych themed edition live on Facebook, facebook.com/Adult Spelling Bee, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. It'll be about an hour. I'm sorry it's at the same time as Joe's speech. That was unfortunate timing, but should be fun. I'm gonna try and spell some words. And
Look, Joe's speech will be on YouTube. You can watch.
yeah,
it.
no, I'm not worried. I'm gonna record it. It's not a big deal.
Maxwell, real quick. Oh wait, I think I have to log in. Go ahead.
Yeah, here's the Twitch for the 24-hour stream, twitch.tv/some call me Johnny. Go check that out.
And if you go to my Twitch, it is being hosted on there, so you can find it through my Twitch as well.
Thank you, Brandy. Monday night, Nightmare Before Christmas watch along, our normal time, 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. And what's really cool is Wednesday on Sunday Soundtracks will also be Nightmare Before Christmas. So we're just celebrating that film all week as we get into Merry Movie Squad. You've seen the schedule. Lots of fun stuff coming up, including Planes, Trains, and that's Die Hard. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles on Friday. And then Thursday, as I said, we are doing a front center mezzanine with our guest Gerard Canonico. He has been on Broadway for almost his entire life, starting as a kid in Les Mis. He's in Spring Awakening, American Idiot, Groundhog Day, Be More Chill, and other stuff. He also has a punk rock band and a Blink-182 cover band. He's really, really awesome dude. I'm so stoked to talk to him on Thursday.
And real quick, we did get a Streamlabs donation from one Mr. Michael K. He said, this episode of The Mandalorian has really had me craving a Peyton Reed directed horror film because clearly he's got the chops for it with the Horde of Ice Spiders, and I do not disagree.
Yeah. I think, I know we're ending, but, obviously when Edgar Wright left Ant-Man and Peyton Reed was hired, a lot of people are like, but I think Peyton Reed has shown throughout his career he's really versatile and he can pretty much nail any genre or tone. Again, I cannot sing the praises of Down with Love enough. Dude, I think it's such a directorial accomplishment and shows just what Peyton can do. And to be able to do that and Ant-Man and the Wasp, which has some of the most fun, I would argue, action scenes in the whole MCU, is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Mike, again, for your support. And thanks to all our patrons. As you can see here, our executive producers and Ruby tier producers, if you want to check out our Patreon, there might be a tier that's right for you. And go hang out in our Discord or in POV's Discord, where celebratory music is playing all day. All right, Jake, where can everyone find you online? What you got going on with POV the next few days?
Twitter and Instagram at Qui-Gon Jake. POV is live Sunday night, 6 o'clock. You can join us there. We're also doing weekly match reactions for the Schmodown. I'm also part of a movie podcast called Apocalypse Movies. And bold prediction for next week for Mandalorian, we will officially see Bo-Katan live action.
Love where your head is at.
Katie Sackhoff.
I like that Maxwell's like, I don't know if I want people to know where Sean can be found on the internet. Shenanigans.
You can find me at Suit Up Sully on Twitter. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Sean Sully. This week I will be mostly radio silent on the internet, I think, as I work on some stuff. But next week I will be, I guess I could say, I will be hosting a 24-hour live stream with the help of the entire Schmodown Reactor and After Show community. It kicks off at 3 p.m. with myself and not 100% confirmed, but I think our first guests are going to be Frank Janish and
why would you start like that?
I mean, you're starting off on such a bad foot.
We're starting with Frank Janish and I think
Brandon Hanna.
I think Ben Goddard.
Oh well, that's not much better either. I'm kidding. I love all these. I love all these people. I think it's going to be great. I
could safely say, Max, you'll be there a lot.
I will. I'm part of 2 segments that are going to go for quite a bit. I'm happy to be a part of it, and thank you for having me. PJ will be there.
Yeah. Well,
Jake will be there.
I will be.
Kaiser will be there. Gucci will be there. We've got a long list. We've got some big Inner Geekdom competitors who will be there.
It's going to be a good time.
Can I hint at something, or are we trying?
You could say it.
So PJ and I are doing a Sunday morning unwind as part of the stream with some really cool guests. And if you've been watching the PJ Campbell Network for a while, I'm sure you used to watch our Family Feud family game nights and saw what a disaster they were. So we figured, why not do Family Feud as part of this 24-hour stream? So I am going to be co-hosting. So the good news is I'm hosting it, and I think you all know that I'm fairly competent at my job. But
way better at it than I.
The most exciting and thrilling thing is my co-host is Rachel Cushing. I could not be happier to be co-hosting Family Feud with Rachel Cushing, and all of the competitors in Family Feud are IG competitors. It's going to be absolutely asterisk. Yeah, it's going to be so much fun, and of course for such a good cause.
There's one Star Wars competitor in there.
Yeah, IG.
Well, technically there's two Star Wars competitors.
That's pretty much IG, but
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be thrilling. I'm really, really happy to be a part of it. It's been a long road getting here. Sean and everyone involved has worked tirelessly to put it together, and we're looking forward to bringing it to you guys. So I can't wait. It should be a ton of fun.
Yeah.
And as far as location, as to where that will go, it will be a unique YouTube channel. We'll be posting it on Twitter this week.
Yeah.
Max and I need to figure that out because we might have had a slight kerfuffle with that. My fault, not his.
That's for off stream, but
Let's just say when you ask someone to do something, expect they're going to do it and don't also do it yourself.
I just hadn't heard anything about
it. You were literally on call when Maxwell said, "I did it."
Yeah, I did. And you should know by now of anyone, I'm pretty reliable.
I know you are.
You've got Dipper very upset down here, okay?
So you can find me on Twitter at CinemaXwell, Instagram at CinemaXwell Inc. I just recently started a Twitch, twitch.tv/MaxwellBoxRocks. That's Maxwell BOXROX. I'm probably going to be twitching at some point tomorrow, playing SNES games and My Time at Porsche. I'm probably going to be playing a lot of My Time at Porsche from the beginning. If you're not familiar with that game, it's a lot of fun, kind of like a cross between Animal Crossing and Stardew Valley, but with beautiful Studio Ghibli-esque 3D animated graphics. So yeah, that'll be fun. And of course, Monday night and every night, pretty much on the PJ Campbell Network, because this is my full-time job now, apparently.
That's what it's become for all of us, really.
And it pays so well. Wow.
Yeah, I know. We're crushing it in the money division.
I would very much like to quit my day job.
Me too.
PJ?
Is the dream. You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at PJ_Campbell. You can find me here hanging out with these lovely people. You can find me at the Movie Trivia Schmodown, where I write questions and be nice to the writers. We're only human. And outside of that, I also am starting a Twitch. It'll be Twitch, which is going to be Twitch/PJ_Campbell, I'm pretty sure. Brandy will know. She's already followed me on it. And I similarly will be playing SNES games and things of that nature. I'm still getting everything worked out. Yeah, twitch.tv. Oh, it's that's the PJ Campbell Network one. But yeah.
Real quick, Elizabeth, my wife, started a Twitch. And I think sometime this week or next week, we're going to simultaneously Twitch while playing Monopoly versus each other. So then it becomes up to you to decide if you want to watch husband or wife on Twitch. Or there are websites where you could have both streams up. So really thrilling stuff. Really thrilling stuff.
Yep, there it is.
Thank you all so much for joining us. We'll be back next Saturday with more water cooler chat about the Mando. If you're going out to celebrate today, which I totally understand, please remember we're still in the middle of a pandemic. Wear your mask. Be safe. We love you, and we'll see you soon.